Get ready for the start of the NFL season. A lot of people is weighing in on Shadur Sanders' future. Will he see the light of day? We reported earlier today that none other than Mary Kay stated that if Joe Flacco struggles, we will see the rookie quarterbacks. Now, how many reps and how many series we will see Shadur Sanders, I don't know, and I don't really think nobody knows.
The Cleveland Browns are no strangers to chaos, but their latest move may have just set a new gold standard for dysfunction. The team dropped its shocking 2025 depth chart, and the fallout was instant. Shadur Sanders, the young quarterback expected to be the face of the franchise, found himself humiliated, buried behind names that left fans scratching their heads. His fury wasn't quiet either. Rumors swirled that Sanders was so enraged, he was ready to walk out.
I'm confused.
My thing is, he says no reasonable person thinks Sanders will be fully ready to lead a team and consistently attack a complicated NFL defense 3 weeks from now. What about Dillon Gabriel? Has he shown you enough to make them believe that 3 weeks from now he can lead this team against a complicated defense? I digress even further. Has Kenny Pickett ever shown you that he can lead a team against a complicated defense?
The depth chart wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a slap in the face. Browns management had hyped Sanders endlessly since drafting him, selling fans on the idea that he was the savior Cleveland had been praying for. He was the big personality, the college star with the swagger to finally bring relevance to a cursed franchise. Yet when the chart dropped, it screamed one thing loud and clear: Cleveland doesn't trust him.
They got rid of Baker Mayfield, Johnny, and every damn body. And it's just crazy to me that they get quarterbacks like they buy new shoes, bro. I ain't lying, dog. They will swap a quarterback out like it's out of date and out of style, man. I ain't gonna hold you. But to me, I think it's very disrespectful to Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel for them to even show interest in wanting to go to games, because from word on the street is that they're going to all big quarterback college games all year long.
For Shadur Sanders, a quarterback who thrives on confidence and spotlight, the insult couldn't be worse. He's not wired to sit quietly behind veterans with less upside or journeymen who wouldn't start anywhere else. The Browns didn't just lower his status, they threw his future into limbo. And for a guy with his pedigree and his father's larger-than-life presence, being disrespected in public was like pouring gasoline on a fire.
I would say I learned life in a different perspective, and that's why I come here. I'm happy. I always got good energy because, I'm blessed to come out here every day. Regardless of the situation, regardless of anything, I know my time, whenever that is, I'll be ready for it, and I'm going to embrace that. But in due time, I got many things I need to fix, many things I need to work on, and I'm not oblivious to that. So all I look at it as, I'm getting more time to cook. I'm getting more time to warm up. That's all it is.
The locker room reaction mirrored the chaos outside. Teammates were stunned, whispering about what the front office could be thinking. Sanders, fiery and outspoken, let his frustration spill over. Reports surfaced of him storming through practice, venting to teammates, and leaving coaches scrambling to put out fires. The Browns, often the poster child for dysfunction, managed to create a new controversy before the season even began.
What the actual heck are they doing after that performance, leaving Shedeur in the 4 spot?
Yeah, it seems like right now the Kevin Stefanski plan is still, this is what we're doing. Shedeur was impressive, but right now, Joe Flacco still has pole position, like you said. But keep in mind, with Kevin Stefanski, his history, and he was asked about this, is typically for joint practices. That's where the starters get the bulk of the work. And then for the preseason games, that's where you see the young guys.
And this is where Cleveland's reputation comes crashing back. The Browns have a history of ruining quarterbacks. From draft busts to bad trades, the list reads like a comedy of errors. Fans finally believed the cycle might end with Shadur Sanders, the player with star power and untapped potential. But instead of backing him, the Browns humiliated him, sparking rumors that he might actually walk out before ever taking full command of the team.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shadur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's 4th on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup. And he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all.
Imagine the optics. Shadur Sanders, a quarterback raised in the spotlight, leaving the Browns because they couldn't get out of their own way. It would be the most Browns thing imaginable. Sanders' fury wasn't just about his spot on the chart, it was about trust, about respect, about being given the chance he earned. And Cleveland, true to form, found a way to sabotage their own golden opportunity.
Every quarterback in here is going to get an opportunity to compete. And I know that they say don't worry about the first team reps or anything, but like we know how this goes. Yeah. If you're in contention to be a starter, at some point I would expect to see you get some reps with the starters. So I don't know if that's going to change in mandatory minicamp. I don't know if it's going to change in camp. At some point, if Shedeur has if we're made to believe that he has a legitimate shot to be the starter, at some point I would expect to see him running with the ones, even if it's like one little section with the 7-on-7s or the 11-on-11s. So that was the biggest takeaway for me. Shedeur looked really good yesterday, albeit with the second and third stringers, but he was the only quarterback that wasn't getting an opportunity with
For the fans, it was deja vu. They've lived through Johnny Manziel's implosion, Baker Mayfield's messy exit, and Deshaun Watson's baggage-filled tenure. Now, with Sanders, they finally saw a chance at a fresh start. Instead, management decided to spark a firestorm. The backlash was immediate. Social media erupted, analysts ripped the decision apart, and fans openly questioned whether the front office had any idea what they were doing.
I watch football, but this is to the naked eye. When it's time for him to come in, you take out all the people who can block, all the people who can play. You got your third stringers out there. You got him looking crazy, just trying to get free, trying to make something happen. Rejection is protection. Cleveland, do your thing. You want Dillon, keep him. You want Flacco, keep him. Go and let him go.
Shadur Sanders being furious wasn't just gossip. It was the obvious, natural response to a team that doesn't know how to handle success or talent. He's not built to sit quietly like some backup waiting his turn. He's built to lead, to command, to be the centerpiece. And by undercutting him, the Browns risked more than a bad headline. They risked losing the very player they sold as their future.
But at the end of the day, y'all able to see and y'all able to understand, everything. On the field, off the field, you know what I go through. So then, you gotta be some type of human at some point in a way. How I'm doing everything and how I'm handling everything that's thrown at me. You got no choice but to applaud at that.
The irony is brutal. Sanders had other options. Other teams would have killed for his swagger, his arm talent, and his upside. But the Browns, desperate to market hope, pulled him in and then turned him into a sideshow. His rumored walkout isn't about being soft. It's about drawing a line. For Shedeur, the message is simple. If Cleveland won't respect him, he'll find somewhere that will.
Shadur Sanders' first preseason game. He was the fourth quarterback on the depth chart, but somehow found a way to start for the Cleveland Browns in the first preseason game. I thought maybe they were setting him up to fail, but he went out there and performed well. What did you think?
I think they were trying to set him up for fail, but I think he went out there and balled. You know what I'm saying? If you hating on Shedeur, man, you just a big old hater. It's in your heart, and you right, you need to do some soul searching, man. That's a good kid, come from a good family, you know what I'm saying? He went out there and balled, most importantly of all.
And here's where the chaos explodes. What happens if he does walk? The Browns become the laughingstock of the league. Again. The franchise that could never hold on to quarterbacks will have run off yet another one, this time before he even had the chance to show what he could really do. The depth chart may look like strategy on paper, but in reality, it's dynamite tossed into the locker room.
Many in the NFL wanted to teach Shedeur and his daddy a lesson. And it just makes me want to puke. Nothing in sports has ever angered me more than what the NFL has done to Shadur Sanders. The Browns showed you their hand by taking Dillon Gabriel 50 slots higher than they wound up taking Shedeur. The head coach, Kevin Stefanski, did not want Shadur Sanders.
Shadur Sanders' fury is the story now, and the Browns can't spin it away. They've managed to turn their most promising offseason into another disaster. And if Sanders decides to walk, it won't just be a loss for Cleveland, it'll be a warning to every young player in the league. The Browns don't just lose games, they lose talent, they lose trust, and they lose the future before it even begins.
Watching him, he did some things even in one game that were somewhat question marks coming out of college that you have to be so encouraged about. No question, he has to be getting starting reps this week. I'm in the camp, start one of the rookies. We saw one of the rookies play. He should be getting starting reps this week.
In the end, the shocking depth chart revealed more than roster strategy. It revealed the dysfunction that still runs through the veins of the franchise. Shadur Sanders didn't come to Cleveland to be disrespected, he came to lead. And if the Browns can't figure that out, his fury will be the spark that lights yet another chapter of chaos in a franchise already defined by failure. The only real question left is whether Sanders stays to fight or walks out the door, leaving Cleveland to once again drown in its own mistakes.